Hi everyone, and welcome to a video of mine. If you're wondering what that thing popping up was, well, I used a certain hotkey to start the recording, and it turns out that hotkey brings up some kind of achievement menu or something or other. I don't know, just ignore that. Anyway, here we are in StarCraft 2, and what this video is going to be about is showing you a bunch of little commands. I don't mean stuff using the command console and typing in like debug codes and getting all technical with the developer stuff. I mean just basic commands that you can tell your units to do to make your life that little bit easier when playing the game. Okay, so the first thing is holding down shift will allow you to queue up actions. First thing this is useful for is telling a unit to move. For example, scout orders. Let's say I want to tell him to explore this base. I'll just right click here, then right click here, and right click over here. And now the little probe will follow its orders and go along the path and go from point A to point B to point C. Point A, B, and C being where I told it to go by right-clicking. Yeah, the function is also quite useful for, Oh, for a minute there I thought he wasn't actually following my orders, but no, he was just using pathing to get to where he was supposed to be going to. Yeah, so another thing that this is quite useful for is buildings. For example, the Protoss, the team I'm playing, the race I'm playing at in StarCraft 2, their buildings build by themselves once you place them. So, for example, I'll just place this new base here, and then while still holding down Shift, build a bunch of pylons because they allow you to construct new buildings next to them and also provide population. So now as you can see, the probe is just going from one area to another and building the pylons. This is useful for other games as well. For example, I've used it in Dawn of War 2 to... Well, that game doesn't actually have too many other buildings, but I've used it to queue up multiple buildings being built in Dawn of War 1. Just keep in mind, one particular reason this doesn't work too well with the Zerg, another race in StarCraft 2, is because their buildings require you to actually lose the worker. Like, the worker will mutate and turn into the building. So you won't actually, like, the worker won't actually go and perform all your actions, because the first action it will do will be turning itself into the building, just so you know. Also, this can, in games where you actually have a repair function, not that useful right now, because the Protoss here don't have a actual, repair function. Like, once their buildings are damaged, they stay damaged, but for the Terrans, for instance, do. So I'm pretty sure if you just hold down Shift and then right-click like so, you could just order it to repair all the different buildings. Also, yeah, the Terran, another race, basically the humans in this game, they don't work too well with that move and build order like I just shown you, because their units will put themselves inside the building and build it. Like, they're basically a construction robot, piloted, but not robot. Just think of the thing from that one Alien movie where Ripley fights the big mother alien with a forklift kind of suit, that kind of thing. In fact, that's a perfect explanation, forklift suit. Yeah, the humans in this game use them, and they will, as I already said, hop inside the building to build it. So the next thing I'm going to show you is an attack move command. I just need to first actually find out where the enemy is. So let me just get one of my little probes here and start trying to find out where they are by scouting for them. And I also need some zealots, so I'm just going to wait a little bit while they build another barracks as well. Get more, because they're melee units, because showing off the attack move command with probes is not that much of a good idea, because they hardly even fight well. They're a builder unit. Yeah, also in a lot of games, sometimes the idle worker hotkey is also hotkey. What I mean by this is I'll just let this guy stop, and now, as you can see, that's flashing, which means because I'm not ordering around, I have one worker that's not doing anything. That's known as idle worker in the game. So if I just press F1, it highlights him. And if I had more and kept on pressing F1, it would scroll through the various workers. And like another game I play a lot, Empire Earth, quite an old game, but quite a good classic in my opinion. it also has an idle worker hotkey and an idle worker button, and I'm pretty sure that also has a hotkey. So it's more convoluted than just pressing F1. I'm pretty sure it's like Control plus something. Ah, so brilliant! I found out where the enemy base is because they shot my little guy to pieces. And my military units are being built right now. So let me just build one of the next buildings to get some different ones. Yeah, I already have that. The armory, the upgrade building. Yeah, so now that a bunch of these guys have been warped in, the zealots, I'll show off the next one of the commands, which is the attack move command. It's pretty much actually self-explanatory. It just makes that what will normally happen is when you right-click with a unit in RTS games, they'll follow your commands to a T. Like right now, I've ordered them to move, and if they encounter someone on the way, they will just not bother attacking the person and walk right by them, getting themselves shot. The attack move command orders your units to attack while moving. Well, not attack while moving. Attack anything in their way. That's the main difference. I would have said it completely wrong otherwise, because attack while moving is only possible in certain games. Oh, they're actually attacking my base.
Base is under attack.
The reason why I'm not sending him in is because he's not really with anyone else, so he'll die pretty fast. I'm waiting for my other guys to get back here so I can go and attack them. Alright, now I can show off the attack move command. So just left click while clicking A, and it will tell them to go and attack anything along their way, along the path you've told them to go. So as you can see, they've killed him now and moved on.
I am the heart of darkness.
Sadly, though, I can't heal anyone because that's like this faction doesn't actually have healing units. Other factions mainly have that. Yeah, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is the idle military button, or select all military units. This is not available in all games, but if I press F2, it selects everything. Keep in mind, though, this won't actually select everything if you have too many units. Like, for instance, if I had more than, like, way more military units than this, it wouldn't be able to select them all, because usually in games, there is a limit to how many units you can actually have selected at a certain time and being able to move them.
For the reckoning.
Anyway, that's pretty much about all the select all military units button. Some games have an idle military units button, so that's when military units aren't moving. But since military units can't really work and gather resources, I'm not really sure how useful the idle button would actually be. Yeah, so another useful thing you can do is control groups. So if you just hold down control and then press 1 in this case, it creates a control group. So right now I've created control group 1, which is that army right there. So for example, if I would like to move these guys around, or for example, told them to kill this annoying little enemy builder unit, an SCV that's just wandered into my base for some reason, then I wanted to cut them off, I could quickly press 1, which would select my other units, and then start moving them, because that would select, like, it's basically control groups to group up armies. And if you want to override the previous one with a new one, you just do the same thing. You press Control 1, and now you can see the number here has changed to 11, because I have just grouped together now 11 of these military units instead of just the 8 it originally was. And for some reason, my mouse is acting all weird. Hold on, let me see if Alt-tabbing the game will fix that. No, it isn't. This is really weird. For some reason, it just isn't. Oh well, I guess I'll just play like this. Yeah, 1 also selects it.
In the shadows.
And the reason why your enemy isn't really attacking me much is because I've set them to much lower difficulty.
We move unseen.
Yeah, but this strategy is very, very useful for going and having two different types of armies. Like for instance, or two different types of units. Like for instance, if I had a bunch of air units, like the one of the types you can build in this game is like these transforming. I forget the name of them right now, but they are these transforming Vikings. That was the name of it. They can transform into ground and air modes. And it would be quite useful to use the control group option to go and select all the air units while I order my ground units about. Yeah, well, I pretty much actually just won at this point, so I'm going to put a cut in the video right now, and I'm going to just start up a bit of a harder game and see if I can fix this annoying mouse problem, and then show you some general just tactics for games like these. Oh, mouse problem fixed itself. Oh, wait, no, it hasn't. Yes, I just put a cut in now. Okay, so here we are after the cut, and it's actually half an hour from when I made the cut. The reason why I'm putting this in is because I want to tell you what happened in that cut. Basically, my mouse seemed like it stopped working, and what I went and done was plugged in a second mouse, then looked up online a way to fix problems. Someone suggested, why don't you try cleaning the laser for it.
Base
I did,
is under attack.
and it oh, hold on, let me just pause while I finish saying what I was saying. Anyway, so I cleaned the laser, and then it all is working fine now. So this is the tip for anyone who has this sort of problem. Don't just go and buy a new mouse immediately. Try and fix it first, and sometimes it might be just a little hiccup like the laser or something. I thought like maybe the drivers weren't working and I was trying to get to them and stuff, but no, it was only the laser not working. Also, I recommend having a second spare mouse around for just an occasion such as this, because when your mouse isn't working and you are trying to fix the problem with your mouse, which isn't able to click on Google Chrome properly because it's not even moving vertically on the, horizontally on the screen, only vertically, it is very, very difficult to Google search what you want to find. Also, another slight side thing is, I thought I used to be quite a chill person. Turns out I'm not. Or maybe over the years I've gotten less chill and more impatient. Anyway, the main thing I'm getting to is, maybe it's best to keep around something like I do. Not really a stress ball, but actually just a spare tissue box, because when I get angry, it feels really good just to let it out on that and just generally beat the crap out of it. Anyway, back to the video. The next tactic I was going to tell you about is turtling, and this is actually a perfect opportunity with the Zerg trying to, well, kill me with their Hydralisk. In fact, this base is basically doomed. I just got these guys out in time. But the thing is, I don't really mind about that, because the object of turtling is to make your base impenetrable, basically, and just, well, huddle down and turtle, because as soon as they come over here, they are screwed, because not only do they get hit by rockets from these little rocket mine things, they also have to deal with two tanks up here that will continuously blast them, and people I've got inside these bunkers that will shoot them at the same time. Oh, and I've also built rocket turrets everywhere. That is just the general strategy of turtling. Also, one of the main reasons why turtling is effective is because it enables you to weather the storm of the enemy's attack, per se, and then attack after they have attacked, because they have just wasted their army dying on your defenses. So I'm going to try that tactic right now and see if it works.
What's that?
Just unpacking everything out of the bunkers and getting the siege tanks ready. And possibly building a few more of these heal buses, as the community calls them. Because they, they transport stuff and heal units.
Yes, sir.
And also because I have scanned before, I know they are generally over there.
Armed and ready.
In fact, I'm just going to scan a few
Vespene
more
geyser
times.
Exhausted.
Okay, so they own there as well.
Mineral field
And I
depleted.
guess they're also going to own here. Yep, I was right. In fact, this here seems like their main base. So if I take out these two locations, I may even win the game right here.
Copy that. Confirmed.
Yeah, so that's just the general strategy of turtling. Although keep in mind that in some games like StarCraft 2 here, they the tactic may not work that well. Oh dear. That is a lot more than I expected. And I wasn't really paying attention.
I'm on it. Yes, sir.
Holy, how long are they gonna chase me for? Okay, that's it. Everyone to get into the thingamajigs. Okay, I didn't actually need to do that.
Ready for dust off. Now what?
But yeah, that is the general strategy of what you do. You just build up a really, really impenetrable defense, and beat the enemy back with all the units you have. Although this is actually a great indication of why sometimes it may not work, because as you've seen, the enemy didn't send their entire army, so they actually had still quite a few things. Still, might as well try with what I have here, because after this, I'm going to put another cut in the video anyway.
Nothing to it.
And I don't generally plan on actually winning this game. I just plan on showing the tactic of turtling.
Okay.
So they're there. Launch nuke here. Oh dear.
You sure
He needs to go far too close. Okay, just launch nuke there. Ah! Spectacular failure.
Upgrade complete.
Yeah, just treat that as what not to
Upgrade
do.
complete.
Try and move your units a little more, and don't be as dumb as that. Anyway, I'm going to put another cut in here, and get back when I show the next tactic, rushing. Alright, here we are after the cut. And the reason why I'm starting off at the very start is to kind of show you, well, how to rush. Because it's a, basically it's a tactic you'd use right at the start of the game, instead of being like kind of more into the game like than I was before when I was building up everything. So in fact, the Zerg Rush is a famous term used by used to describe what the Zerg do a lot, which is actually what I'm going to be doing here, which is just building up the units as fast as possible, trying to get the first building, or rather like barracks thing that makes them, the hatchery, and then just getting as many little Zerglings as possible. In fact, you don't even need to go for the secondary resource gas here, because Zerglings don't cost gas. Yeah, rushing obviously works better in early game. Rushing late game isn't even really rushing anymore. And it can really be used to your advantage to catch some enemies off guard, and works especially well if you already have units built up. For example, in a game I may make a Let's Play on soon, Dawn of War Dark Crusade, it lets you purchase, in the campaign anyway, it lets you purchase units for, units which act as bodyguards to your main army. And the units that you purchase will start at the start of any match you play, making it that you already have an army there. Like a sort of small army at least. So if you already have a bunch of other units, then you can group them up with those and just attack the enemy right away and win. I once tried that and the tactic almost worked, but I didn't know I was versing two enemies at the same time because they both had the same color scheme. Like the armies both exactly the same. So I lost that horribly, which is why if I start that Let's Play, that game is I'm probably going to play on the normal, because hard is just way, way too hard. Also, great thing about making the Zerglings here is that... Oh. Turns out I actually would need some gas to research that, so I am going to go and make some drones into the things that you get gas. Yeah, also great thing about the Zerglings is that you build two at a time. out of one single egg instead of other things. Also, what I'm doing here with the queen is spawn lava, which is an ability that basically makes these little eggs here start growing, and then they will pop, turning into more lava, allowing you to build more zerglings. So once this here is finished, and I have additional eggs, I'm just going to turn them all into zerglings, and then go and attack the enemy. Yeah, at this point the enemy shouldn't really have that many units, so that's why the rush tactic can be good very early game. Oh, yeah, anyway, as I'm waiting for all this to build, I may as well tell you about a friend of mine. We'll just call them Dave for the sake of, well, keeping their name private in case they don't want me to say. I don't know what they do or don't. Anyway, Dave loved the turtle tactic I was explaining about before, and he actually had a variation of it where he would wait so long that he would starve the enemy of resources. Like, he was once playing a campaign in Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, it's basically a Star Wars version of Age of Empires 2, and he would wait so long the enemy actually stopped sending units because he had a thing that was gathering him infinite food, and they didn't. So he just had an infinite amount of food and was able to just wait out every single enemy unit and let them oh. Looks like that actually worked terrible. Yeah, this might as well be a good point to move into the fact that sometimes, like, another kind of sort of topic, which is don't try the same. Another tip, I guess, is don't try the same thing over and over if it fails. Like, I've seen a bunch of matches played online, like I've watched them and spectated them, where the players just do the same thing. Like right now, they would just build more zerglings and try and go and do the same thing. What I'm going to do here is build Roaches, which is the supporting unit that can spit acid, because if they have the like thingamajigs they had there, the flamethrower car things that could just kill all the zerglings, I don't think more zerglings are going to work. Of course, I will build more zerglings, but I also support them with a few of the other units. Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, that can be a legitimate tactic against the AI, where you just starve them out of resources, but keep in mind that if, for instance, you are planning to make a YouTube channel like I have and make videos on it, it would not make for an interesting video at all, because you're just sitting there waiting around all day for the enemy's resources to run out. And while I chase down this little enemy builder unit, I might as well actually go looking for any of their other bases, because these zerglings I have here are pretty fast, and they're going to be even faster, as you can see, once I research the speed ability, and they'll be able to just take out any enemy bases around here, and then I hope they will be able to run away from any enemy units that try and attack. And by the look of it, the enemy actually hasn't gone and built really anywhere else in any nearby bases, which is very good for me, because that means that they don't really have too many extra resources. Oh, they're actually trying to attack me. So, I guess I'm gonna try and do here, since my units are busy being built and will probably attack them, is attack them, since they don't have anyone to defend them. This tactic is known as the base race, because basically you're racing to destroy each other's bases. So I'm just going to kill these two guys here, and then rush to the back of their lines to kill all their worker units. Yeah, their worker units are fighting back, but my guys have, well, basically teeth and they don't. Ah, and back at home, I'm actually winning. And now I'm going to take these two units and rush up here and cause more havoc. Oh, they built a tank, and then it was immediately destroyed. Oh dear. Now they have a little guy with rockets. Yeah, so, as you see in there, the tactic sort of worked. because now they have a lot less units, and they have a lot less workers, and their army's defeated. Although they will build up soon again, so I'm basically going to end the video here, put the cut here, and either end the video or keep going and talk about something else if I have anything else to talk, like any other little tips and tricks for real-time strategy games, because otherwise it's going to be an average match playing out, and you've basically seen how the tactic works. Alright, here we are on this last little part of a bonus video, well, bonus part actually of the video about real-time strategy game tips, and this is a focus on what not to do. So in this game, I'm against the medium AI, which turned out to be quite easy because I basically walled them into their own base. I've got people guarding the only exit, which is here, and I control points all over the map, and they can't go anywhere. So yeah, this is a prime example of what not to do.
Sounds like a
Rush
plan.
in there, and commence Operation White Dawn, I've nicknamed it, in other words, launch your nukes far, far too close. This is going to show you just how devastating they can be, like, weapons like this can be in the wrong hands. Yep, as you can see, I wiped out nearly my entire army. And it's quite funny they are actually up there because the AI like wants to surrender. It's like a big one so heartless that I wiped out my own army. They're like scared to submission. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the tips and everything. Don't bomb your own units. Don't, at least try not to. And that works in other games too, like in Dawn of War, one of the games I was talking about before. You can have these abilities called Earthshaker Shells, and they are devastating when used on your own units. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that little act of stupidity.